Many years ago, I had the opportunity to help out an abandoned baby raven. This tale is told in more detail in both a picture book and a short film called Bob, Huey, and Me, so I'll just give you a quick overview for those not familiar with the story. I found a very young bird that was obviously way too young to fly. Seemingly perfectly healthy, I cared for it and protected it from harm just until it could fly, and then it was free to do whatever it wanted to do. But there's a relationship issue I need to talk about, because in the short time I nursed the raven back into the wild, I learned ravens are more unique than I had ever dreamed they could be. You got it. What are you doing with it? What are you doing with it? Huh? What are you doing with it? Show them what kind of grip you have on my arm. I can? I was curious to see if I could see the same behavioral traits in the wild birds, and if they would manifest in a similar or completely different way. So I had to find out, and that's what brought me to the wild ravens I had seen for many years every time I passed Crystal Cove State Park, which, even before my raven fascination, was one of my favorite drives in all of Southern California. This gorgeous stretch of wilderness on Pacific Coast Highway is on the south end of Newport Beach, just before you get to the city of Laguna. What follows is the true stories I have videotaped over the last 2 decades with the birds. At times, I will be sharing my prior short stories with Huey, and then giving examples of what I have experienced with the wild ravens in different parts of the country. I hope you will be as amazed and entertained by these truly magnificent birds as I am. Sketch. Crystal Cove is a California state park with a vast array of native wildlife on land, in the sea, and in the air. Hundreds of different migrating birds. Hello, pretty bird. And there are numerous marine mammals that pass by at different times of the year. I'm a baby. There's a tail. Crystal Cove is also a historic area with the only Depression-era squatters village left in the entire California coast. Visitors can rent these amazing cabins and stay here as long as a week. And Crystal Cove is home to the 4 raven families I've tracked and befriended since the early 2000s. I spent countless hours with these birds, sometimes sunrise to sunset, keeping a video log of both the adults and the young they raise each year. It is here where I've gotten many of my raven questions answered, in addition to a host of new material I learn every season of every year. These are completely wild birds with absolutely no physical human contact at any time in their life. In all the time I've spent with these birds, I've only had actual contact 4 times. Once just to see if I could, the other 3 times were because of injuries. Before I begin, let me answer a few questions I think you may have as we go along. Let's start with, how can I tell the different birds apart? You guys look great. And how can I tell male from female? Keeping track of the different couples is pretty easy for me, because ravens are so territorial, I can almost draw a line in the sand and show you where each of the couple's territories starts and stops, and where the next couple's territory begins. So I can do this pretty consistently all the way down the entire beach. Currently in 2017, there are 4 couples, and their territories are just about a mile each along the beach. There's Gus and Lisa, Harold and Maud, the Moros, and then a 4th couple I've never named. This couple nests on the other side of Coast Highway and just come and use the beach, so I basically just watch them. Once in a while I get visiting ravens who don't belong, but they're pretty easy to tell because they're the ones getting chased out. Now, as far as male from female, this is not so easy to be sure because ravens look so much alike, but there are ways. The best is to pay attention during both the mating season and the nesting season. In this park, only the female incubates the eggs, and the male feeds the female while she's on the nest. Therefore, during this time, the male will be the one out and about collecting food to feed her while she is on the nest. Note, she will take a break once in a while, and when she does, she plays. So we look and we watch him closely and see if we can find a feather missing or some other distinctive mark. Like my favorite pair, Harold and Maude. Notice the difference in the bills. Hers has a hook on the end, and his doesn't.